I'm having problems with the Newport News police system because they keep stopping me. And I can't figure out how you can stop one person more than 5 times in Hampton Roads, Virginia, when there are 7 billion people on the planet. With that many people, surely the ones that are texting, the other day I had 2 people texting on both sides of me and one in front. They don't get stopped. I've been stopped once in Emporia for driving while happy. I had a new car. It wasn't new to the world, but it was new to me. And I was going to my daughter's graduation from boot camp in North Carolina. Police stopped me, said I was speeding. I wasn't, but I got a ticket for over $100. Another time I got stopped because I was in the left turn lane, and then when a police car came up behind me, I put on my indicator, which seemed to indicate to her that I was a criminal. And that ticket was $100 because I had a failed inspection sticker. Okay, got stopped in Hampton, Virginia. She was really nice. She just gave me a warning, said, how long do you need to fix your car? Because I don't have a lot of money. And I told her maybe 2 months. She said, fine, have it fixed, show up in court, there won't be a fine. Third time was when I was stopped by a police officer who was irritated. I guess he hadn't had time for lunch. So he stopped me because I was going to make a U-turn when it said no left turn. And ended up, he thanked me for not losing my temper. Final time that I got stopped was recently, and the young man, very cute, could have been my grandchild, which is sort of scary to think I'm old enough to have grandchildren, but I am. And he stopped me and said that he thought I had a fraudulent inspection sticker. And you can't see the inspection stickers. They're in the front of the car. He apologized profusely. It occurred to me, I've been stopped while driving happy and free and not being afraid. I've been stopped by an angry Chicano pit bull who either had PMS, was going through a divorce, hadn't reached her quota or something. So that's angry person. Another Hispanic looking guy, he might not have been, but I'm prejudiced. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, we all are. We all make assumptions, so I make mine too. He stopped me because he was a growling bear, and he apologized because I did have a right to make a U-turn. And the final time, it occurred to me, driving while happy, driving while somebody looking for trouble chooses you, and finally, driving while poor, because nobody can see that's driving behind you whether your so-called inspection sticker that is this big is fraudulent. So they just do it because they can. And I'm poor, and they figure my old car can't pass inspection. I decided to tackle the issue by talking to a police officer that was working at Walmart on New Year's Eve. I rolled up in my little handicap. I know it's not politically correct to use the word handicap. Disability carts that you use at the store. Okay, does that satisfy the people that are going to be mad with me for using the wrong word? Hopefully. If it doesn't, too bad. So I blocked him in because I was lonely. Everybody was with families and friends and lovers and children, and I was with no one, and it was New Year's Eve, and I wanted someone to talk to, and so I just sort of positioned my cart in a way that he really had to pay attention to me, and asked him, what's going on? There's 7 billion people on the planet, and I've been stopped at least 6 times since leaving Seattle, Washington. Doesn't make any sense to me. He said, well, you must have been doing something wrong. I said, oh, no, I wasn't. I was not breaking the law. I was not doing anything illegal. He goes, well, they wouldn't have stopped you if you were. I said, they've all apologized, except for the Chicano pit bull. And I'm getting tired of it. He says, well, are you trying to have us do profiling? You don't want us to profile that people are bad, so we have to stop you and we can't make those decisions. We have to just do our job. I said, but I'm a good person. How am I supposed to know you're a good person? Because I just told you, I'm a good person. Never got into trouble in high school. Only skipped PE the last day before graduation, and my teacher complimented me on my bravery. Never got called to the principal's office except to find out what my change of address was. I spent most of my life trying to go to heaven, so didn't have sex for ages, didn't use drugs. I was an immigrant, so I stayed away from naughty people because I was always afraid of being deported. And now as an adult, I keep getting stopped. He says, well, as I said, you must have done something wrong. I said, you know what? You need to pay attention to what I'm saying and take this time to learn. Because I'm explaining to you that I did nothing wrong and I was stopped 6 times. And there's 7 billion, not a million, not 1,000, not 100, 7 billion people on the planet. So statistically, it makes no sense to stop me 6 times. Eventually, we had a decent conversation. He wasn't bad looking, you know, he's white. And first he was a bit of an angry sort of person, which I didn't appreciate. But by the end, we even ended up joking, because when he saw me go to my car and he came out and he said, license and registration, please. And that was good, because I don't think it's okay for any human being to oppress another just because they have the power to do so. I think it's wrong. On a lighter note, I could get buy some stock in 7-Eleven, because I used to detour every time I saw a police car, afraid they're going to stop me for something. And I'm not into the marching and all those things when somebody is shot or killed or arrested. But for a brief 6 months after Ferguson and after Baltimore, I felt brave. I figure that there's somebody around that has a camera that's filming all of this. I didn't remember that they don't usually march for black women. Oh well. So I'm going to have to approach the police force, law enforcement. Because one of the things that happened when my stepdaughter was beaten up by a friend and we went to report it, she was asked the most insane questions, one of them being, what is your assailant's date of birth? And I asked this police officer at Walmart, how the hell is that a valid question? He said, so we're not allowed to ask any questions. We can't ask the questions? He said, because that person might have moved. I said, she lived next door. They knew each other. She's not going to move in 5 minutes. Plus, I've never heard of somebody who's been mugged or beaten up saying, excuse me, could you stop for a second? I'm going to report you to the police, and could you please give me your birth date? Because they're not going to listen unless I know your date of birth. Stop it. The world is big, and all of us are here. And we look different sometimes than what you're comfortable with. We speak differently. We have different education levels, different economic and social realities. But we're all human beings. Don't use your power to make somebody afraid. Go back to the idea of serve and protect. Just like physicians, and we'll get to them later, need to do no harm. Be kinder. I'm not telling you to set yourself up to be killed, but spend the time you have really enforcing the law and making our communities better for everyone. And if you get bored, if you haven't had sex with your pet partner, which is what this police officer at Walmart said, you know, we're only human, we might have had a fight with our husband or our wife, our children might, I said, Your role as a law enforcement officer does not include permission to be abusive. For whatever reason, you leave your stuff at home. I worked at the library, and believe me, there was times you wanted to get over there sometimes and just slap somebody upside the head, because some people that come into the library really have a lot of problems. But you couldn't do it, because in your position as a librarian, you had to behave. So even more so, if you're going to carry a gun and a stick and mace and one of those things that, stab people with electricity, You can't come with any attitude. You have to learn how to leave it at home. And please, would you quit stopping me? Because I'm driving while poor. I have enough on my head, enough problems. If you do want to stop me and you're just bored, why don't you take me out on a date? I haven't been on one for a long time. I go with any race, nearly any age. And as long as you're intelligent, which is a requirement, hey, we could have a good conversation. Thank you.